Hello everyone, so in this video let us talk about attachments. Now when I work with new customers or clients or existing stakeholders where they want to use Jira for a particular use case, I often come across this question where they want to basically have fields to upload some files. Let us say you want to capture a requirement, and when you capture a requirement, maybe there is a requirement to attach an Excel sheet, maybe some scorecard, or maybe some kind of document. And whenever these attachments need to be uploaded, people expect in Jira a field. Let us say a field to upload a scorecard, a field to upload some kind of a diagram. Now, good thing about Jira is, or maybe it's a bad thing, attachment is not really like other fields. Attachment is like a feature. Of course, it appears like a field when you go to your screens. You can add a field called as attachment, and then of course users can upload a file. But you can't really have a custom field of type attachment. That is not how things work, and it is in a way not really a bad thing. It is just a matter of using it or using this particular feature in a certain way. So what you can do is based on what kind of file you want to attach. So there are a few things that you can do. Either you can leave it to your users where they can upload a file and then someone will approve it. For example, usually when it comes to these kind of processes, there is an approval system where the approvers, let us say your first level approver, second level approver, they of course will review the files that are already uploaded. And if there is a scorecard attached, then of course they will approve or they will not approve. So this is something that you can do. So basically you can have multiple files attached to any issue, maybe a requirement or some kind of, let us say, or basically whatever process that you have. It could be an epic, it could be some other issue type, but you just have one attachment field where you can have multiple files. The other thing that you can do is you can definitely create, and this is something that people do a lot, because in Jira, even if you attach a file, it is just a file. But sometimes those files could be stored somewhere else. So what people do is they have like a text field, and that text field basically will have a link to some other document. It could be a Google Sheet or some SharePoint or some other document somewhere else. So that, or maybe a link to Confluence. So that is something that you can do. You can have a field like scorecard, requirement scorecard, and that should be a link. And now, of course, when you have these things in Jira, it is not really going to be a perfect solution. You just need to, create these fields or rely on the native attachment functionality, but then rely on your users, your stakeholders, and leave it up to them so that they can approve. And good thing about Jira is that there is a history of everything. So if you go to the history tab, you can see who approved it, and if someone is approving a ticket, then they are, of course, they're expected to review the files that that are uploaded, or maybe they're supposed to review that Confluence page or whatever page. So have these things in Jira, but it cannot be like 100% foolproof system where you're managing everything exactly within Jira, not going to any other tool. So this is of course something that I can share based on my experience. What you can also do is, and this is something that I'm talking about, like options, giving you some ideas. So one option is of course have the native attachment field or native attachment feature. The second option is to use a text field or text fields that will link to a separate document or some other place. The third thing that you can do is you can have fields within Jira to capture these things. Maybe if there is a requirement to have a scorecard or some information that you want to capture, maybe store it within Jira in a text area field. And what you can also do is you can, whenever a requirement is created or approved, maybe you can have like a template that users can fill in, and that template is something that you can of course pre-fill using behaviors in Jira. And on my channel I have plenty of videos where I talked about these use cases, and I think I do have like a couple of examples where I've shown how to use behaviors. So this is something that you can do. I mean, this is something that I prefer, but it is not always possible or feasible because you can't really create fields for everything, and you want to of course avoid too many fields in Jira anyways. But this is also an option that you can look at. And of course, if you have any doubts, if you have any requirement where you need to do something similar in Jira, then reach out to me, and I can definitely help you. If you need some professional help, we can definitely help you for your basically needs, where you want to use Jira for maybe requirement gathering or some kind of RFP, where requirement is, or it could be an issue type, it could be a separate process in itself. And it is not just about creating a project and using workflows. It is also more about how others are solving these problems. And of course, I have plenty of experience. Our team has been doing it for many years, and we can definitely guide you. We can definitely give you the right advice based on what will and what should work for you. And of course, for example, in this video, I gave you, I think, 3 options, right, on how to manage these things in Jira. But at the same time, there is always, there are always pros and cons. I personally prefer using the attachment, native attachment feature, and leave it up to your managers, your approvers. But of course, it might not work for all of you. I prefer using attachment because it is always in Jira. It requires very less or minimal configuration, hardly any scripting. I mean, what you can do maybe, which may not work for everyone, is you can check for the attachment extension, or you can, whenever you are approving an issue, or whenever someone is approving an issue, maybe check for maybe the file name or the extension, or maybe check for the attachment. That attachment should be filled in. So you can do these things, and that is of course possible using script validators or behaviors. But again, when you have something like Jira, you have plenty of options, and by the way, it could be a mix of all the 3 options that I talked about. So you can basically do some kind of like a hybrid approach, where you can combine all these 3 techniques and then solve a problem. And one option could be to just don't use Jira. Sometimes I also recommend it to my clients, because there are tools that are supposed to be used for requirement gathering. But based on my experience, especially if you're on Jira Data Center, people, especially big companies like banks or anyone who's dealing with compliance, they usually have like a SharePoint portal. One advantage of using SharePoint portal is that anyone can access it, right? But when it comes to Jira can only be accessed by limited set of users based on, of course, your license. But usually, not always, but usually it is like limited or restricted to few, or Jira is not always open for everyone. So sometimes I do recommend that maybe keep using your existing tool. But if you are supposed to use Jira, because if you have Jira, then your requirements will be linked to your epics. Your epics are linked to stories are linked to bugs, and you can trace back to your original requirement to understand why this bug is there. Is it really a bug or not really a bug? And when it comes to storing those files, I think in this video I probably combined requirement process with managing files in Jira. But usually when it comes to requirement processes, files are important, and that is why I thought I'll probably talk about this topic. Okay, so that is all I wanted to talk about in this video. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and you learned something new today. Thank you very much. Bye bye.